It's Mike from around the world.
God bless you, Pastor Paul.
Oh, Mike, how you doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good. It's great to hear your voice. Wow. Lot going on, Mike. Lots going on since you were with us last Thursday.
A lot. And unfortunately, a lot of rain.
Mike.
Just beginning.
Huh?
It's just beginning.
What do you mean by that?
It's only the beginning.
So, Mike, let me ask you. You said there was going to be these water events. You mentioned Texas. You mentioned Arizona, New Mexico, and some of these places. And wow, since you were here last Thursday night, we've been hit. Of course, we saw what happened to Texas. 120 are dead. 160 some are missing. We had the water, the flash floods in New Mexico. 3 are dead. We've had Massachusetts, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, West Virginia, North Carolina, all of it happening right now, all these water events. Is there a pattern here? Are we in some kind of weather pattern or something else happening?
Well, we have a few things happening. It's just beginning. It'll continue to increase, sadly. This is what we faced. And if you notice with the storms that began in Mexico, going up into the East Coast, you'll notice greater rainfall rates. I mean, in certain states, not Texas, but other states, in about 5 minutes, you're looking at, 4, 5 inches of rain on the ground. Just that fast. So even before Texas, a week and a half before Texas, I think I was talking about it. Actually, I wrote some letters because we need some modifications to some of the cellular systems to really take over a person's phone to ensure they have that alert. Most people get alerts. They just skip through them, right? And that's going to cost lives. So they're going to have to take advantage of multiple systems to make sure that people can be duly warned. But about a week and a half ago, and a week and a half before that, rainfall was outrageous. 10 inches. It rained 10 inches in about, I believe it was probably about 15 minutes in certain parts of the U.S. And so this trend is just beginning. It's only beginning.
Now, Mike, I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories. I know there's been conversation about, there is a company in Texas called Rainmaker, and they admitted they did some seeding in the clouds on July 2nd. It even rained some blue rain. But I don't think, you tell me, did they put too much in the clouds, or this has nothing to do with that? Well,
cloud seeding is when you put, you put silver iodide. In this case, they have salt flares. They call them salt flares. They'll drop salt flares in the air. And this salt, once the salt is in the atmosphere, you have a CCN effect, or condensation nuclei. Cloud condensation nuclei begins to form and increase. So they actually increase cloud coverage, right?
Yes.
Dropping that hygroscopic salts into the atmosphere is what they're doing. It absorbs moisture from surrounding air. So they get a process going, or they can increase a process, but only about 9%.
Okay.
You can drop a lot of that stuff, and it's only going to increase rainfall about 9%. Right.
So if they did this and it was July 2nd and it did rain a little bit on July 2nd, that wouldn't have been what caused
that
this.
Would not account for that water. Yeah. I've seen most companies do this. And they come up with some pretty clever types of hygroscopic salt combinations, calcium nitrates and magnesium chlorides, stuff like desiccant and that food and pharmaceutical preservations and building materials, stuff that power plants use. They use all that to absorb moisture, and it only increases rain about 9%. That's it. about 9%. So, but we have a few processes happening on the globe, and that's where this rain is coming from. And it can be understood. It's actually quite easy to understand, right? This year, the ocean temperatures have smashed the records of 2024. 2024 had seen the hottest water temperatures on record. The water is heating up from the bottom up, and it's causing, we had this conversation before about the salt in the water.
Yeah.
Right? The salt, all this stuff is being pushed to the surface. So you're looking at heating from the ground up is going to cause turbulence in certain current flows, and they're going to start to alter, right? But the heating of the oceans is the key point. The heating of the oceans right now is a key point. Yes, it's melting the ice. 100 billion tons of ice was accumulated in the Arctic, but they also lost twice as much ice on the eastern side of the Arctic, right? So you had the western side building up an ice, and the eastern side is losing ice. And there are 3 heat plumes below the Arctic. So that ice melting from the bottom up is going to cause some bigger problems. But think of it this way, cloud seeding. The ocean, right, as the waves come up on the shores and the waves are going all over the place, and that magma, this volcanism, and the ocean floor is heating up, pushing all these salts up, and you have this mega melting of some of the Arctic ice, you're going to have a higher salt content in the oceans. That higher salt content will contribute to cloud condensation nuclei, right? That provides a water vapor will condense on that salt, forming clouds, right? Now, for every, let's see, I believe it's like 1.12 degrees of atmospheric heating, you're going to have the atmosphere is going to be able to hold 4% more water. Okay, we've had a lot of atmospheric heating. So imagine we had a stable atmosphere at about 70 degrees, right? But then this year it's like 80. It's a big increase in water. And when you're talking about tonnage, oh man, that's flooding all over the place, right? That's like because sometimes you have those 10-degree variants, right? So that's a lot. That's a lot. 10 degrees at 4% per degree. That's quite a bit. And that increases from there. But that volume of water is falling right back to the ground. So the clouds can hold more moisture the warmer it gets.
I see.
Okay. And with all that rain, when that happens, it blocks all that hot air into the atmospheres, and the volcanoes just continue to heat things up. So we're being heated up from the inside and the outside, right? More the inside than the outside. It's causing a snowball effect. And then you have a earth tilt issue. We also have, the ice melt is going to be the big thing. But the floods, all these floods are about to precede another event, which I call the water event.
Now, BP Earthwatch is also saying that the Earth's tilt is a major issue, which I'm wondering if the Earth's tilt, does that affect the cracks in the ocean for volcanism? I mean, because you're shifting. I mean, something. It
will affect it. Well, when you have a gravitational pull, anything that tilts is going to cause a strain on the crust. So yes, it will affect quite a few things on the interior of the Earth, right? It's going to shift things around a bit, and even that will increase. And then it becomes like this snowball effect. The more shifting we have in the plate tectonics, the more we're going to tilt just by sheer inertia. Yeah. And then you have these external gravitational pulls, these anomalies that are happening out, way out there in space. And so we have all this happening at one time. But this rain is about to increase twice as much as it is now.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
They need a warning system. Pastor, it's going to cause major damage. I'll tell you this. The water event is this. People are going to wake up one morning. It's going to be dark. They're going to look out their front yard and see nothing but the sky. That's a water event. So think of just about every single place on the face of this earth covered by at least 4 to 5 to 7 inches of water. Right?
That's just
now, a lot of people.
That's just incredible. That's just. Okay.
That's it.
But let me ask you this: you've been saying that Antarctica, that the ice is melting from the bottom up. We finally got a report this week that is saying that the Southern Ocean circulation has reversed. There's a guy by the name of Paul Beckwith that I listened to, and he was talking about how
they do have reverse.
And there's another man, Shadowburn. His name is John Shadowburn. He has a great YouTube channel. Who I met him about 3 years ago in Dallas, Texas, and had lunch with him. And he's a brilliant scientist, and he was telling me how this was going to happen. But you have brought it up several times now that the Antarctica, that the ice underneath is what's melting because of and now we're getting confirmation from the International Environmental Forum, from other major forums that so it's not that we're having global warming from the top down from the CO2 and from the but it's from the bottom up. This is a game changer.
That's right. Because that's why we see the increased volcanism. Right. Okay. And remember, one volcano can do what every human in the world can go drive their cars. A volcano can put out just as much carbon in about 10 minutes that all of humanity can put out for about, 10 years. It's just that extreme. And we're about to have some big boys really go off. So here's the issue with the ice, though, as it continues to melt from the bottom up. Right. The ice that anchors these big chunks of ice to the earth, they're thinning. It's like standing a block of ice on a toothpick, right? When that toothpick melts, that ice is going to drop.
Yes.
It's going to fall. It may fall 5, 10 feet. It may fall 20 or 30 feet, but that is water displacement. They have pulled out submarines, underwater research habitats. They had to pull them out because they know this ice is about to go. And when it goes, there's going to be a silent water shift, right? It's not going to be extreme. Nobody's going to, we're not going to have a large earthquake before this happens. It'll be quiet, but it's going to be thorough. Now, a lot of people will say, well, God said he'd never destroy the earth by water. That's right. He said he would never destroy the earth by water. This is not destroying all flesh. In fact, he said he wouldn't destroy all flesh.
Right.
Nor destroy the earth by water. This is not what that is, right? So we're going to have the flooding event. Pastor Paul, and that's all is probably why some of the complex mechanisms in this, when you go into the ocean, just about every single month, they're finding playgrounds. They're finding, this is at the ocean floor, right? On the ocean floor, can you imagine park benches?
What are you talking about?
In the ocean.
Park
These
benches?
are lost cities on the ocean floor. Lost cities.
Lost civilizations.
Park benches. Now, we're talking about from a long time ago.
Yeah.
They look like playgrounds of today, complete with steps that go up to the little thing that people can slide down or whatever the case is. So they're finding this stuff. You're talking about thousands of feet down there. They're finding this stuff, and all over the place. It is extraordinary. Just extraordinary. Beautiful tile, right? Beautiful layouts, but it looks so common. But you have all these cities under the ground. It just so happens, all these different places, it just so happens, you find those at these I'm going to call them crease points, where you have mountain ranges that apparently had some sort of immediate upthrust. So you have land masses that totally sunk into the ocean and other portions of land that were pushed up from the interior of the earth. Now, it is theorized that the only way that can happen is through a lot of molten material, right, inside the earth. And as it begins to shift and move, it will push things up and totally, have other things go completely into the earth. It'll flip-flop, which is why there's the USA is another name. There's another name for the USA that the Native Americans use. It's called Turtle Island. They recorded that Turtle Island has turned over twice.
Turtle Island.
That's what the USA is called, Turtle Island. And they say it's turned over twice. And that's a pretty good explanation as to why they have found what they have found deep inside the soils in the USA. But they say it's going to happen again.
Now,
because we have a lot of oil. We have a lot of oil
right
below the U.S. I mean, a lot of oil. In fact, it's classified how much oil we have beneath the USA, right? So if we had enough of those pockets, it'd be an easy thing for the land to kind of, actually turn over. Be an easy thing.
Yeah. All right. Now, Mike, also, we're seeing, of course, we've been talking about earthquakes. We've been talking about Japan, of course. It had 1,500 earthquakes, and we know there's been quite a few in other parts of the world. But Mount Rainier has been having quite a bit of seismic activity. Is there anything to be concerned about there?
Well, you remember the ancient line of volcanoes I told you about up in that area?
Yes.
Yep, they're all waking up. Dormant volcanoes are waking up. My goodness, Pastor Paul, there are so many things we talked about 5, 6, 7 years ago that are now taking place. I mean, It's just back to back, things are, but it's part of a process. Yeah. I believe this is the last process, but it's part of the process. And we're just living in that time where we are seeing. Yeah,
you have been. I mean, over the last 5, 6 years, you've talked about several different things that when you first would bring it up, I would say, all of us would say, what? Are you serious? But here we are now, 5, 6 years later, and those very issues, those very subjects, a phenomenon of things that are happening around the globe. And we can't deny the earth is tilting. The water is changing. And then let's talk about this interstellar object, this Atlas
83
comet. Here it comes. It's huge, Mike. It's 15, maybe 20 miles wide. It's coming at an outrageous, enormous speed. It won't get sucked into the sun. It's on a different elliptical, or it's on some other kind of an orbit.
Yep.
What is this thing that's coming?
Okay, first of all, the data began to pour in, right?
Yeah.
So they're combing over the data and they spot a numerical sequence that became an anomaly. So they looked at this anomaly. They pulled all the frame video. They looked at this anomaly, and sure enough, there was there's some sort of oddball out there. They recalculate the data. They put it all together so they can project a path. I have to give you a warning, though. That path they projected is not based on all the data. So I have to give you that warning. I got to tell you that right now. It's not based on the universities did not get all the data.
Okay.
They did not. It's a shame, but they didn't. So they find this thing. But I can tell you right now, it's not by itself. It's not by itself.
It's got
I'm not worried about the big
object.
With it? Yeah, I'm not worried about the big object. I'm worried about the dust that was around that object and behind that object. That's what has me, because these smaller objects are prone, right? They normally orbit these bigger objects, but they're prone to break away, get captured by the sun, and change their trajectory, right?
All right.
That's what concerns me. It's too many to actually find out where they're going. And it will likely end up being another Russia event, but a few of those events where it explodes in the atmosphere, right? Remember, everybody was looking for the comet, but then nobody told anybody about the stray that was rotating around that bad boy. And when it went into Russia, of course, they fired at it and destroyed it.
So you're saying
that event again.
You're saying that this comet Atlas 3I, and it's going to go between the Earth and Mars, and it's going to be a little closer to Mars than the Earth. So, is this what you meant when you said maybe 2-3 years ago that something was going to cause Mars to maybe even get knocked off its orbit?
Well, this one is not the one.
Okay,
we'll have about 4 more. One of those will likely will likely, smack an object out there. Yeah, one of those will. We live in a time, Pastor Paul, this with AI, with you have a lot of people, they like to keep secrets. They do not want the public, right? Because everybody has a computer. You put the data, the right data on the internet, and everybody's going to come to a truthful conclusion. So they don't need you anymore. They just need the data. Well, they need to stay relevant, right? So of course they're not going to give people all the data. They're just not going to do that. And if something were to hit us, don't ever expect to see it. You'll never see that data. It'll never come out to the public.
You're saying this comet that's going through, this ain't the one you're worried about. There's at least 4 more coming. Yep. And is any of them, are they bigger than this one? Are they closer than this one?
Yeah, a couple of them are. They're quite big, and they have a long anomalistic motion, so they'll really have a better trajectory as we continue to come around to get a better snapshot of what's actually happening with these things. But truth be told, they have found quite a few objects, right, that are not, they're just not in a standard formation where they would actually be part of our solar system. They're not. And they drip this stuff out to universities because they, like I said, they need to stay relevant. So I'm giving you that hint because, you got folks like BP, you have other folks out there. I'll tell you something. If the Christian community does not have those guys who have this data, you're not going to know anything. You'll find that out because nothing they put out, people are going to find out that everything they're putting out is not going to pan out. Almost like somebody is purposely misleading folks or just leaving large chunks of data out that they shouldn't, right? So people will find that out. Kind of like this rain in Texas.
Yep.
Why didn't anybody warn these people in Texas? And every day for 2 weeks, I've been talking about they need to be warned. When that storm hit Texas, the day I did a broadcast, right? And I said, but they're not going to warn Mexico. Yeah. That's what I said. They're not going to warn it. Of course, that was New Mexico, but they weren't going to warn them. And then the next day that happens, right? We have, and it's just beginning.
Mike, thank you so much for tonight. This is really good. Really, really, really good. And we appreciate it greatly. Thank you so much, brother.
Always an honor, Pastor Paul. Oh, and I will clarify that water event. Right? I thought about you, and I have another PowerPoint that'll be coming out. There's some details of that thing.
Okay. So, I'll be ready. I appreciate it.
I just hope people are ready.
Yes, I hope so. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to get them ready. We're trying to get them ready.
Amen.
All right. God bless you, Mike.
That's always an honor. God bless.
The honor's mine, brother. God bless.
All right.